Hi everybody, I'm Kelsey. This is Essentially Book. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I am super excited about the concept of this video. I have been on Goodreads since, 2011. And so I have the stats for this one, which is why I'm excited about it. I'm going to tier rank the Christina Lauren rom-coms. I've read all of them and I am currently vlogging my way through the True Love Experiment. So at the end of this, you will find out where I put this in my tier ranking. But I've read every single romantic comedy by Christina Lauren. I have not read their YA, and I am working through the Beautiful Bastard series by them. If you do not like open door romances, Christina Lauren's probably not an author for you, although I will say from my experience, most of their books are pretty open door. The Beautiful Bastard series takes it to like a whole nother level. It's definitely more on the total smut vibe, but their rom-coms I think are relatively mild for the type of romance I read. Now, I like the door wide open, so your spice level, your steam level, it's all subjective, but I will say their books are relatively on the tamer side, except for the Beautiful Bastard series, but it is open door, so there are sex scenes. I just think Christina Lauren's really fun. Their books are just quirky. They really try to have diversity representation. They run the gamut of the types of writing that they've done. I have not given a Christina Lauren book lower than 3 stars. Now, I have my favorites and I have the ones I don't like as much, but still 3 stars, 3 and 4 stars are all that I've ever given those books. And for me, a 3-star book means I really enjoyed it and I'm going to recommend it to people. 4 stars are ones that I'll like press in people's hands. 5 stars are those books that will just stick with me for eternity, right? So that's kind of how I rate books, but we are going to tier rank and look through all their books that they have. So there are 12, if you count this one. So there's 12 rom-coms, and their rom-coms are not the Beautiful Bastard series. They have one other series I haven't read, and then they have their YA. So I stated earlier I'd been on Goodreads since 2011, so I have logged my reading for every single Christina Lauren book. And so we are going to go through them, starting with my least favorite to my most favorite. I am also simultaneously going to be putting in some footage, I don't know yet where that's going to be, of me vlogging as I read this book. So right now I am halfway through the True Love Experiment and I do not know where I'm going to put it. So we will see at the end when I decide. This is really fun. It's kind of a sequel, but not really, to the Soulmate Equation. And I'm really liking it. I love the 2 characters. I've laughed out loud multiple times. I like that the main character, Fizzy, keeps kind of like throwing Connor off of his game and he doesn't know what to do with her. She goes for shock value all the time, which I truly appreciate. And there's been a lot of little comments in here. I don't know Christina Lauren, but Christina Lauren, they're always on one of my favorite podcasts, which is the Fated Mates podcast. So I feel like I know them. Like, they're just really cool people. And so if you don't listen to Fated Mates and you like romance books, listen to that podcast. Sarah McLean is one of the co-hosts. You know, I love her. But anyways, they're on there a lot and they're just really good people and they're doing a lot of good in the romance community. They're well respected. Okay, so let's get started. Coming in at number 11 is Something Wilder. This is their most recent release. It released last summer, maybe? I don't know. But it is about a girl who is like on a ranch. She's a ranch hand and she falls in love with this guy who lives on the ranch with her for a while back in college, you know, and then something happens, miscommunication trope, and they get split apart. He is on a bachelor party and one of his friends books a party at this dude ranch. Lo and behold, she's the like runner of this dude ranch. This book is it was just ridiculous. It was the most, what is the movie with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock? Like, it had those vibes, just ridiculous romantic comedy that at the time I was really struggling with disbelief. I still gave it 3 stars, but it was just not my cup of tea. So it's my least favorite by them. Number 10 is In a Holidays, and I disliked it for the same reasons. So this one is kind of like a time travel romance where this girl and her family, they have a close group of family friends, and growing up they all meet at this cabin every year around Christmas time. So they meet at this cabin for the year. They find out that their friends are actually going to sell the cabin. And so this makes the main character really sad because this is, you know, a pivotal part of their growing up. One of the owner's sons and her are like, basically they're in love, but don't want to admit it. So they're all sad, flies on a plane to go home, and then something happens, and it's just a Groundhog Day loop of this week until she can figure out how to break the spell or whatever. It was just ridiculous. Again, a 3-star read. I enjoyed it, but it just was not my favorite. Coming in at number 9 is Twice in a Blue Moon, and this takes place on a movie set. I read it a long time ago, so I remember very little, but I just remember thinking it was slower than a lot of theirs, and it was also, I didn't connect with the characters, but they're filming a movie. There was like some family drama. It was a more serious book, I would say, for them. I would probably put it in the same category as, say, Love in Other Words, if you loved that. Not like Second Chance necessarily, but like it just had darker vibes. Okay, and then coming in at number 8 is my favorite Half Night Stand. This is one I read back in it would be 2019, I think. This is about a professor, and she lives very closely and is very close to 4 guys. And so, it's her and her like gal pals, kind of think like her and her gal pals, her and her guy pals. Kind of Big Bang Theory-esque, I would say. And they all make a pact to join a dating app. Something becomes like a black tie gala. The friends all go out one night, and then Millie hooks up with one of the people in the group. And they have like the best half night stand of their life. But they still proceed on with this online dating thing. And so you're trying to figure out if they'll connect or whatever. A lot of this book is done in like text messages, which was distracting for me at the time. Again, I gave it 3 stars, but it was really fun. This one, I just remember it dragging in parts, but I did think it was really fun. It got a new cover. I liked that. Coming in at number 7 is Love in Other Words. I would classify this less as a rom-com and more as women's fiction. It's about 2 people who fall in love in high school. Something happens. They get split apart. The hero's sibling is getting married, so they come back for this wedding, they reunite, and then they unpack what happened. It's very similar to Meet Me at the Lake. I've never read that by Carly Fortune, or Every Summer After. This was my very first Christina Lauren, and I still think about the sex scene because I think it was written so incredibly well for all the tension that led up to it, and I just vividly can remember this scene. And it's like, sex in romance novels should move the story forward for the characters, and it's not solely just sex. So in Love in Other Words, I think that the sex scene is one of the best written for moving the characters forward, and it still sticks with me to this day. Coming in at number 6 is Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. What I loved about Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating is that Josh is this like stoic, put together person, and Hazel is a train wreck. Like, she's just flighty and fun and bubbly, and their relationship dynamic to this story is so good. Find like a better summary than that because that's not, but it's still one of my favorite. This one has not gotten a new cover yet either, but Hazel's very just a lot. Like, that is her dynamic, and Josh has just always been put off by her, not in a bad way, but she just always takes him for a loop. Like, she just throws him constantly. And so he was cheated on by his girlfriend, and so he decides to go out with her for like a breath of fresh air, and like sparks fly. It was just a really fun one that I did really enjoy. 5 is Dating You, Hating You. This is an enemies to lovers romance. It takes place in the workplace. It's 2 people going for a job that their 2 agencies merge. They're fighting, very steamy, but what I love about the book is the tagline. Everyone knows that all's fair in love and war, but these 2 will learn that sabotage is a dish best served naked. This one was just really fun. I read it right after Love in Other Words, and I really liked the dynamic, the fighting between the 2. And then in number 4 is The Honey Don't List. This was an HGTV inspired rom-com, and it gave me very much Chip and Joanna vibes. It's about a couple that works for a Chip and Joanna type company. They're like the personal assistants to these people, and they're both trying to just make things work despite these 2 having a lot of tension. And the 2 assistants fall in love as they're trying to keep their stars happy. It's just a really fun dynamic. Number 3 is Roomies, and this one is set in Des Moines, sort of. The main character is from Des Moines, and her uncle lives in Des Moines, and still during the book, he manages what here would be like the Temple of Performing Arts. And so as I was reading this, I pictured a very distinct scene the entire time because I knew where she came from. Now, it does not take place in Des Moines at all, but that's why I loved it so much, is there's an Iowa tie, even though I'm not sure that these writers have ever been to Iowa, except tonight they are actually in Iowa for a bookstore signing at my favorite bookstore, Dog Eared Books, but I can't go because we have soccer. I'm very sad about it. So maybe today is our first time in Iowa. I don't know. But I will just say, loved Roomies for that little dynamic. Okay, coming in at number 2 is The Unhoneymooners. It's an enemies to lovers trope, essentially. I can't remember if it's the main character, her sister is getting married, and the hero is a best man, I think. And the sister is an influencer. She wins all these things, so she has a free honeymoon. A lot of people at the wedding get sick with food poisoning, including the bride and the groom, so they can't go. So the sister tells the main character, hey, you two should take our seats. They don't like each other, but hey, take the seats. And hilarity ensues. They go on this beautiful tropical vacation that's free. Enemies to lovers, you know what happens next. But it was just a really fun environment, very summery. I think I read it at height of the pandemic, so it was what I needed. It was very escapist, And then number 1 is The Soulmate Equation. This is about a dating app developer who creates this algorithm, and he's a scientist. It's very sciencey. And this is the answer to online dating. It is very science-based. It is very fact-based, but they use genetic markers to identify your matches. And there's levels of matches. The highest is a diamond match. He takes the test. He has a diamond match with this girl, Jess, and it's the only one in this dating app ever. They meet because executives in the company want to show that this app really works, puts them together. They start dating, and eventually what was a job opportunity for them to date becomes a real relationship. And they play prominently in the True Love Experiment. So I just really liked it. I thought it was steamy. I really connected with the main characters more. I felt like it was a more mature writing. I think Christina Lauren's books they're romantic comedies and they fully embrace it, but some of their main characters are very juvenile in some of their past works. I feel like of late their books have become more mature, older heroines and heroes. So just know that going in. I think that their newer works, some of them are zany and haven't worked for me, but The Soulmate Equation and The Unhoneymooners and The Honey Don't List really did work for me. Their main characters are becoming a little older, so I just think I like that about them. We will keep reading The True Love Experiment, and I will let you guys know what I think as far as where this sits in my ranking here. If you like rom-coms, I really do recommend them. I think all of their books are so much fun, and I think that they really do romantic comedy well. And for summer coming up, this is just the perfect time to read light and fluffy and just get lost in a book for funsies, right? So I would definitely recommend Christina Lauren. I will read everything they write, clearly. Even the books I didn't like, I still gave 3 stars. So clearly I like them. To me, they scream summer. So fun. They're exactly what I want to be reading right now. So I will keep going with this one. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I will let you know where it stands here in a little bit. Bye. Good morning. I started the True Love Experiment a day ago, and I'm on chapter 17, and so far I like it. As you'll see in this video, I've not been a fan of some of their most recent works. I love The Soulmate Equation, but I did not like In the Holidays or the other one, Something Wilder. But this one is what I love about Christina Lauren. Very believable. I wouldn't say believable, but they write romantic comedy really, really well. And so this one is about Fizzy and Connor. Fizzy's a romance novelist. Connor is a documentary, I said that really weird. Documentary producer, and his company has decided that documentaries is not where it's at, and they want him to become a reality show producer. He has to come up with this concept for a dating show. He does that. Fizzy is cast as his lead role. Of course, sparks fly. It's a romance, right? We know what's gonna happen. What's really funny is Fizzy is making it very difficult for him. She's just being facetious the entire time. And she requests that he cast these men as romance tropes. So there's a cinnamon roll, there's a hot nerd, there's a corporate billionaire, just these funny things. And he has no idea what those are. And reading that just made me laugh out loud. It's really funny and cute, and I'm just really enjoying it for a summer read. And so I will keep reading this. I will keep vlogging throughout the week. And when I'm done,
we will have a CeeLo video, and I'm pumped about it.
Hello. So I don't have a lot to report other than I loved this book. I am 3/4 of the way through. Oh my gosh, I just love it so much. I was unable to go to the Christina Lauren event at Dog-Eared Books last night, and I'm really sad about it, but my really good friend moderated it, and she said to them, and I think it really adequately sums up my feelings about this book. In her post, she wrote, "Thank you for writing this book because it's truly a gift to romance readers," and it is, because they play on like the tropes of romance, and they've just packed in so much that like I love as far as tropes, sex, like the relationship, the banter. This book is just an ode to the romance genre, and I'm glad my friend Rachel said that. But you guys, I am just loving it, and it's so beautiful out right now, so I'm gonna read until my husband gets my toddler down, and then we're gonna enjoy a bonfire for a little bit. Hi everybody. So I finished it. It is my favorite Christina Lauren, so it's now #1 in my heart. It's such an ode to romance readers. Sorry, the glare is really bad. I just can't. It's so perfect. There's like just the angst and the love between the two characters, the steam level, the like humor, everything about it. I just loved it so much, and I'm like very excited that this might be the book I finish the month on, because one, it just has that beachy, feel-good summer feeling to kick off summer for Memorial Day weekend. And also, just if this is the start of my summer reading, sign me up for whatever the summer brings. You guys, I just absolutely loved this, and I loved the reality TV component of it. I loved the romance author component of it. Seriously, if you like romance, Christina Lauren, you guys, and yeah, you know, just love them. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe, comment, all the fun things. I love interacting with you guys in the comments, and I hope you guys have a lovely day today. My nephew's getting baptized, and then I am staining my deck, so it's just going to be a very busy day. I will probably listen to some audiobooks, but other than that, until the next video, my friends, see you later.